We often, when we're poor, have a scarcity mindset, and we can see all the things we don't have, and it's hard to see the things that we do have. And sometimes you need to, despite the insecurity and the fear that comes with that, the shame is a big thing that comes with it. You got to sit down and look at what you have. Looking at what you have lets you know what kind of resources you have to try to grow something or invest into making something better for yourself. If you sit down with your kids and you look at what you have and you look at investing and you look at it in a way that's not overwhelming, you could actually end the scarcity mindset generationally. But the biggest thing is to understand the difference between when you're looking at what you have, what's an asset, what's a liability. An asset, by definition, is earning you money. It's appreciating in value. It's growing. It's going to be worth more in the future than it is right now. That's an asset, okay? From different perspectives. A liability is something that is not gaining you money. It could even be losing you money. A liability often is losing you money, sometimes invisibly. You can't even see the drain. Like, if you're in debt, that liability of that debt is really obvious. You can see the interest on the debt. You can see that that is disappearing. If you have some money sitting in some location in your house, that money is invisibly a liability because of inflation. And it is becoming less and less valuable, even though it might be that you put like $200 somewhere in a jewelry box or something. That $200 buys you less and less and less each year. So it's automatically a liability. Say you have a bunch of clothes and a bunch of stuff. As wear and tear happens to your clothes, eventually you're going to have to replace them. They lose value. Unless you are keeping them in excellent condition and reselling them before they can get worn and torn too much, they're a liability. They're not an asset. An asset will be worth more either right now because it's giving you some sort of interest or dividends or whatever, or else in the future because it will grow in worth. It will become, a collectible or more rare, or give you, again, appreciation in value. A house is considered an asset even though it's a massive money sink because it grows in equity, and the longer you have it, the more valuable it gets, and that property, can gain you money in the long term. Also, that house, you could use it to rent a room, and you could gain some sort of money currently from it as well. So even though it's expensive, and even though you might have to get a mortgage to get one, the house is still considered an asset. A car is almost always a liability in almost every situation because the car depreciates in value. The car doesn't gain you more money. When you go to resell that car, it's going to be worth less than what you paid for it in most situations. You have to look at what you have so that you understand what resources you have to get somewhere. And it's very important that if you have things that are liabilities, you want to have as few of them as you can handle while still being a functional human being. For example, it is technically a liability to have those cutting knives. They're going to get more and more worn out as you use them. They're going to be worth not very much in a yard sale. Technically they're a liability, but also you need to cut your vegetables. You need to be able to actually use them, so they are functional to you existing. There's lots of liabilities that you can accumulate, and we call them junk. We call it stuff. We call it clutter, and have lots of terminologies for it, but in reality they're liabilities. They're objects that do not give you anything. They're not growing in value, and they are actually bleeding value over time. Now, some of them might be sentimental. If it gives you a mental or emotional security, If it is a way of investing into yourself to keep it, that's different. But from a financial aspect, you might need to just stick it in a yard sale, put it on OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever you need to do. eBay, I don't know. Just you don't need it. If you really don't want to deal with the whole selling it thing, donate it. But it's not adding to your life, it's detracting from your life. It is detracting from your ability to invest. If keeping it is, say, not hurting anything, you don't really care about it, but it's not really problematic, but you don't really use it, in the long run, it could still be something that's hurting something, but you're not thinking about it. What if you have to move in the future and you have to pay an extra expense for moving something that you weren't even using the entire time? What if you are trying to clean? It's very important to end the scarcity mindset by recognizing that you actually have way too much crap. The majority of us, unless we are a full-blown minimalist, have too much that is a liability, and not enough that's an asset. Assets take larger initial investment, but they are worthwhile in the long run. Liabilities take very little financial investment in the first place, but in the long run, they're not worth it. There is a big difference between buying that $20 pair of shoes from Walmart and it getting destroyed in less than a year, and buying those $60 shoes from a shoe store and them lasting you several years. The cost difference is different, and you can do the math, you can crunch the numbers on almost anything, and you can realize that the scarcity that you're feeling is because of the pressure that you feel to keep up with all of the bills and the costs and the debt and the accumulation of stuff, the consumption. Getting rid of some stuff might actually help alleviate some of that distress. Having less stuff might make you feel like it's more okay to stop the consumption. Might make you feel like, if I can get rid of this, maybe I can get rid of that debt. There's hope. If I can stop having these material things, then maybe I can stop having these particular bills. So that's that mindset that you don't have enough, flip it. Say, oh my gosh, I have too much.